Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name's Cherish Gibson, and I'm sitting here with Tracey Kadish, who is the Associate Dean of our Business and Media Graduate Studies programs. Tonight, we're here to talk about the graduate and media programs and tell you all about it. We want to tell you more about the programs, what you can expect from them, and how these programs can really align with your career goals. Before we begin, I'd like to thank everyone who submitted questions ahead of time. We greatly appreciate it. If you didn't get a chance to ask us questions ahead of time, no worries. There'll be time for you to ask as many questions as possible tonight. Please just put your questions in our comment section. We're going to try and get to as many of those as possible. And if we don't happen to get to those questions tonight, we will answer them within the next 24 hours. So thank you again, everybody, for joining us with our live Facebook session on our media and graduate programs. All right, well, let's begin.
All right, Cherish.
Thanks so much for joining me tonight, Tracey.
My pleasure.
I'm excited to learn more about our media and graduate programs. So the first question is for you is that I know you've always been such a huge supporter of our media programs and our business graduate programs, but what makes Mohawk College so unique and special with these programs?
Well, I think the fact that we offer graduate programs is unique in itself to Mohawk College, and other colleges do offer graduate programs as well. But I think what you need to do is really investigate the program that is going to be the best fit for you. So Mohawk has a whole suite of graduate programs, as you mentioned, in both business and in media. And what makes them unique is that they are intensive in delivery. So they are 8 months, 8 to 10 months is the duration for the programs. They offer research opportunities, field experience, capstone projects. We work closely with industry. We have great partnerships with all of our field placement employers. And I think what the students really most appreciate is the extension of their learning. They're learning professional skill sets. They're learning about new opportunities in various sectors and industries. So they're programs that really prepare the students with unique skill sets.
Wow, it just sounds like an overall good rounded experience for someone who's wanting to, expand their credentials. So for prospective students that are thinking about coming to Mohawk for these business and media graduate studies programs, what are some of the programs you would suggest they start to review first?
Well, I think that we'll start with media, because there's been a lot of change in media over the past few years, and media is an interesting industry because it runs in peaks and valleys with employment opportunities. So one of the programs that we introduced last fall, which has proven to be quite successful, is our Accessible Media Production Program. And with that, students learn to create accessible media that can be used for described video, closed captioning, PDFs that could be used in office environments, Excel, web design as well. So there's a component there for accessibility. And then there's also the creative arts business. So any student that may be graduating from a music program or is an artisan, someone who might have been taking photography or videography, and they want to launch themselves in a career being self-employed. So we have the creative arts business for them as well. Communication media practices. This is a really interesting graduate program. It's a 1-year intensive learning all about professional media communications. And so that could be online platform delivery. It could be working with on a documentary. It could be working on an independent production as well. And so they will learn the skill sets for professional media practices. And another interesting program that we are offering is multimedia storytelling. And multimedia storytelling is going to look at storytelling across the platforms. So it could be for web, it could be for script writing for sitcoms, it could be for drama writing. It could also be for looking at all sorts of social media components for multimedia storytelling. And then if we touch on the business programs, we have a couple of new programs that are starting. Analytics for business decision making. Anybody who might be on Facebook tonight may know a little bit about analytics, and the analytics for business decision making will teach you how to really take a look at your data, the big data, and how to break that down and how to use that in business. And it is an online program that we are offering, and it's starting in the fall. Mm-hmm. We also are offering supply chain management, and Hamilton is positioned really well within the supply chain industries. We have the Hamilton Port Authority that has endorsed our program. We have the airport, we have the Welland Canal, and we're very close to the border. So the Mohawk program is nicely positioned in the supply chain industries. We also have the business analysis program that we are offering, HR, public relations. So we have a whole suite of graduate programs, both in the media and in the entertainment industries, as well as for business. And these suite of programs will certainly help launch anyone into further developing their career.
Wow, that sounds amazing. I think when I was counting earlier tonight, there was 13 programs under your umbrella.
Yeah, there are 13 with more to launch. So it's pretty exciting what's going on. And I think that the important thing is that when you're looking at pathways and you're thinking about your education, I think it has to be a lifelong learning plan that you create for yourself. So I think that once you graduate from an undergraduate program, finding yourself the right graduate program will nicely position you within the industry. Many years ago, when I was a graduate from a university, I was looking for a media program, and I actually attended Mohawk, and Mohawk offered a 3-year undergraduate in the television broadcasting program. But had I known about a communication media program, like the communication media practices, I likely would have taken that program because I was ready for the industry, but I didn't have all of the skill sets necessary for media production. So that would have been a great program for me to take at that time.
Yeah, that would be. So what makes these programs so unique and high in demand?
I think it all starts with the individuals that are most passionate about these programs. You have to understand that the faculty are often the ones that have come to us as associate deans with the ideas of what would make a really good graduate program. And for instance, we have Carol Fleck, who looks after our supply chain management program. And she came from the supply chain industry and with many years of experience. And she also was well entrenched in the industry from a global perspective. So she's worked in China, she's worked in the States, and she brings that type of experience to the program. And then as she's developing it, she's incorporating a lot of her real world experience into the program as she designs the courses for it. Stephen Way looks after our analytics for business decision making, and Stephen is very passionate about analytics and all that it can offer, not only the student, but corporations and industries, and really breaking down that big data. So I think what makes it unique is that we really appreciate the faculty that bring these ideas forward through a graduate program and really are working with us to develop them. One other program is the multimedia storytelling. Atul Rao is the coordinator for that program, and Atul has been working in the industry, the screenwriting and television industry for many, many years, and he brings such passion to what he does, and I know that he's very excited to launch the multimedia storytelling program. And then what also makes it unique, Mohawk likes to be leading edge in everything we do, and
So
we
true.
are also offering a virtual reality multimedia program starting in January, so it'll be the first of its kind.
Right. Welcome, everybody. If you are just happening to join us right now, we are doing a live Facebook session on our media and graduate business programs. Here with Tracey Kadish, who is the Associate Dean of these programs. We have 13 programs, and tonight we're going over them in a little bit more detail to share information about them, tell you what these programs are about, and help you with that decision to find out if this is a good fit for you or not. So thanks for joining us. If you have questions, please write your questions in our comment section, and we're going to try our best to get to everyone's questions tonight, if not within the next 24 hours for sure. Okay, well, you're so right, Tracey, and I love hearing about the faculty. They're very passionate. I did an info session a few weeks back, and the knowledge and the experience that they were bringing into the programs and, their expertise, it was just really rewarding and I feel so fortunate to work in such a workplace with such good faculty. So that's great. Thanks for sharing that. For anyone that doesn't know, what would be the admission requirements to get into these graduate certificate programs?
Well, every program has admission requirements that are tailored to that specific program, Cherish. So the one, they're two key things that you really need to know is an undergraduate degree is one of the admissions requirements, or a 3-year advanced diploma from a college. And some of the programs, though, we do look at prior learning experience. So if you've been working for many years and you decide that you want to go back to school, but you may not have that undergraduate degree, or you may have a 2-year college diploma, then we will take and we will do a thorough assessment of your previous work experience and see if we can align you to the program.
Great. And you mentioned earlier the length of the program. Would you say that again for us? Is that most of them are about a year?
They're about a year, about between 8 and 10 months. Some of the programs have field placements, and some of them have career discovery projects where we work on capstone projects with industry. So depending on how the curriculum has been laid out, for instance, accessible media is about 14 weeks in total. For each semester, and then the business analysis program, for instance, is 8 months, but they also have a 2-month placement. So it's best to check out online to see what the length of the program is. But I can tell you that once you complete the program, we have employers lining up to review our graduates. This is pretty interesting. We had a supply chain rolled out this past year. And we actually had employers wanting us to do a job fair because they were ready to hire our students right out of the supply chain. Now, the students had only been in the program for 4 months, and they were asked, they came to Mohawk. We had about 25 employers here, and the students actually, planned the entire job fair, and then they got to know the employers, so that was a really great connection. And the other thing that was amazing, though, is the employers were ready to hire. The thing is, the students still had another 4 months of school. Right. But, the nice thing is that they're there and they know more about the Mohawk program, and they're invested in what we are teaching, and they're excited to hire the Mohawk grads out of that supply chain program.
Wow. Now, are there any flexible learning options that are available? So say there's a student that's working, they're not wanting to leave their employer, but they want to enhance their credentials so that they can elevate their career.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So we've looked at all of the programs in the best delivery formats. We'll start with accessible media. It is, we recognize that there are media professionals that are still working and want to take a graduate program. So we do offer it through what we call an executive delivery. So that would mean that there's a portion of it online, and then we do offer face-to-face classes on Saturdays. So that's a really interesting way of delivering a program. Business analytics, we recognize that there are individuals working and they just want to learn more about a new discipline that could be added within their work environment. So we're offering that as online. The majority of it is online, and there's some Friday evening classes. So we're looking at what the needs of the graduate or the graduate student would be, and then trying to tailor it based on the industries that they're coming from. We have community and social services management that we also offer, and that is solely being delivered online. And with that program, we recognize that those working in that field are contract-based. They often work shift work, and so we're looking to see what would be the best fit for them. So we decided to take that program directly online for them to support them. Yeah.
So we're talking about employers. Can you talk a little bit more about the job placement opportunities that are available to our students?
It's interesting. That's a great question, because we have employers, we have more placements than we actually have students. And that is within every program. And we're really proud about that. And one of the reasons why we have so many placement opportunities, it's often that the students who have graduated from our graduate programs go on into management positions, into hiring positions, and they're coming back to us to source for placement students because they valued the program that they had graduated from. So that's a really nice indicator about the success of the program. We have grad nights that support those, and so the graduates come back and they're looking for students that they can actually hire into the programs or into the industries. And just to talk about a little bit about the field placements. Field placements are about 7 weeks long, 245 hours, but they can also, they can most often college programs don't necessarily allow a student to do their field placement until the very end of the program. Here at Mohawk, we like to have the students get involved in the industry as soon as they're ready. So they may have already been working in the industry and now they're coming back to school, and so they already have the professional skill sets, and so we want to ensure that they are doing they have the opportunities to do real work in the real world environments. And so if a placement comes knocking at our door and it's the right fit for the student, then we will place that student into the industry right away. So you can wait till the end of the program if you choose, or you can start your placement right away.
Great. So for anybody who's just joining us again, my name's Cherish Gibson. I'm sitting here with Tracey Kadish, who is the Associate Dean for our Business and Media Programs. Please put your questions in our comment section. We want to answer as many as possible tonight. So getting back to our questions again here, piggybacking on that last one there, can you highlight any career opportunities and paths that are for these programs that are open to our students?
Absolutely. So I was just meeting with our Human Resources Program Advisory this morning, and we were talking about job opportunities for our Human Resource Management graduates, and it could be anything from talent and recruitment selection. It could be labor relations, payroll. It could be working on compensation. So those are some of the jobs within human resources. Supply chain management, you'd be looking at purchasing, production planning, logistics, transportation, technology in any of the areas of online software to support the supply chain industries. With respect to multimedia storytelling, you could end up working in writers' teams and working on scripting productions, but you could also work with writing online content. Communication media practices could be an extension, perhaps for somebody who's in the public relations field and wants to learn how to do some editing and camera work, as well as working on their social media, which that program also covers. Business analytics, you could be doing analysis of information that is coming in, whether it is on social media or maybe it is analytics and data that is coming in within the various industries through ordering and purchasing. So there's lots of jobs out there within these graduate program we offering, because to be perfectly honest, Cherish, I don't think we would be offering the programs if we didn't know that there was going to be a career pathway for them. And I would say that I was talking to Carol Fleck, who is our supply chain coordinator. I mentioned her earlier, and she came to tell me that a lot of the students have already been offered jobs. So there's lots of opportunities for them to find employment, and especially in the Hamilton area.
That's exciting and very reassuring. So I'm sure everyone listening and watching tonight is wondering, can I still apply? Is there space open? How do I apply? So Tracey, tell us, is there still space available for September or January?
Yeah, so one of the, I like to think of our programs as boutique programs. So they have very small class sizes. We're looking at 35 to 45 students per class, and in some cases, some classes may only have 25 students. So it all depends on the type of program and the delivery of that program. But yes, there is still opportunities to apply for the programs, and certainly the programs, a lot of the programs will run in January as well. So if you're just thinking about graduate programs and maybe you're tuning in and this is the first time you're really kind of discovering the programs that we have to offer at Mohawk, just know that they're offered a couple of times throughout the year. So we do have a January intake in addition to the September intake, which is the traditional college intake. Yeah.
Great. Well, that was our last question for tonight. I just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight, and Tracey for sitting here and answering our questions and sharing so much detail and knowledge about these programs. I know I've learned a lot tonight, as I'm sure everybody at home has as well. If we didn't get a chance to answer your question, please don't worry. We're going to get back to you within the next 24 hours with a follow-up response. So thank you, everybody, again for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for joining us.